Hey guys, welcome to the Beginner's Mind Podcast. My name is Marcus Kongman, and today we have our guest, Mr. Nico Abines. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, sir.
So, as you can see, Mr. Nico is freakishly huge. I think his arm is the size of my head.
Okay lang.
But okay lang. But of course, you're a bodybuilder, right?
Yes. Specifically the men's physique na.
Men's physique. I checked your Instagram and it says you're the 2023 kg overall champion.
Yes, KG Classic overall.
If you can explain that to the viewers, what that means.
The KG Classic men's physique, it is a all men's physique competition. It was created by the Team KG, headed by Mr. Kerwin Go. It is a show specifically for men's physique athletes. It's not a how do you say this? It's not for profit, because he wanted to really serve the men's physique athletes. He believes that our nation has a lot of athletes, but they don't really get the support that our
Support they
country.
need,
Yeah. So basically, I won that. I think 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. So congrats again. So this is a national
Yes, it is a national
competition. And then how does the competition go? So it's by category, right? Weight category.
Yes.
So your weight category is
The categories is by height, so
By
open. I am class D, so it is 5'8" and above, or above 5'8". I won that class, and then I also won the overall.
overall. So against all the other competitors.
Yeah, so when you say overall champion, it means you won your class, and then you also won against the winners of the other classes. So basically, you won the whole show.
Grabe, no? So this was your first time competing in that competition?
In this show, yes,
In this
yes.
show. It's called show, not competition.
Yeah, you could also call it competition. I just call it show because competition is like a long word.
Long word, so show.
It also sounds classy.
So this was your first time competing in that show.
Yes.
Prior to the KG show, you've also done other...
I've done a lot of other shows. The last show I did was last year, October. I turned pro actually at the IFBB Grand Prix Philippines. I earned my pro card there after winning overall also. But I waived my pro card because they were supposed to hold a pro show this year, but they canceled it. They didn't really say the reason. So at that point, I was already prepping for a show. I already started my diet and expenses and all. And I was like, I don't want to waste my prep. Okay.
Sayang.
So there was another show which was the KG coming up. So I just decided, okay, I'm just gonna waive my pro card and just do this show instead.
So, what do you mean by pro card? Your pro license? Is that a license?
Yeah, a lot of people don't really understand what pro card means or a professional athlete. So there's amateur and there is professional or pro. The big difference between the two is when you compete as an amateur, there's no cash prize.
Okay.
When you compete as a pro, there's a cash prize. So when I turned pro last October and then we did a pro show after, there was a 1K US dollars cash prize. So that's the difference between if you compete as an amateur, there's really almost no cash prize.
So basically, it's just for exposure.
Yeah, just for exposure, just for your
just to
ego.
test,
Yeah, for your pride. Yeah.
at least you get to test out, talent in the amateur league, and then
yes.
hopefully once you gain the experience, you can then proceed to the professional
Pro level, yes.
You've also competed amateur, of course.
Yes, I have a lot of times. Yeah.
Much more, okay.
Yeah.
So how many times have you competed in the amateur?
I haven't really counted, but I think it's
Ever
around
since
10 times.
how long?
already? I started competing in 2017, and then I think an average of 2 to 3 a year, I guess.
Grabe. So 2 to 3 a year, and then professional just recently.
Just one show, and then I waived that, and then I did this one. But the reason why I was comfortable in competing for this one is because it has a big cash prize. So it's basically like competing as a pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference when you're a pro? Like, is there you can join other bigger competitions, or because I'm not so familiar with how it works. For example, ako, I do martial arts man. And then when we do, yes, there's the amateur side also. You don't have to have those license or whatever. But when you proceed to the professional, you have to take the professional. You have to qualifier. You have to get the license. So of course there comes the checkups, so medical checkups and whatnot. So is there a difference, ba, in the once you have the professional card, what are you able to do? Like, are you able to compete in bigger competitions, or is it limiting you in a way?
There are a lot of different organizations. For example, there's the IFBB Pro League, there's NBA, or for WNBF. Those are different organizations. Once you turn pro in those organizations, you can join the pro shows of those organizations.
Okay.
But you can't really cross compete in other
Organizations.
Yeah, organizations.
Why is that? Or it's just, is that a legit rule, or it's just
Yeah, it's a legit rule.
a
Yeah,
legit
yeah.
rule?
For example, if I turned pro in the IFBB Elite Pro, which is what I earned last October, I can't really compete in the IFBB Pro League, or the organization which holds the Mr. Olympia. I can't. So I have to qualify for the IFBB Pro League. So it's
okay.
different organizations.
So you're-
it's like PBA and NBA. It's different.
Okay. So you still have to go through a lot, no, to really go. But the international competitions, once you turn pro, you can
Yes.
compete.
So last year I was when I turned pro for that organization, me and the team, we're supposed to join the Arnold Classic in Spain, but wala na yun, so
Wala, sayang. But at least, daghan pa kag time. And then, so now we're here. Right now, you just competed at the KG, Kerwin Go, right? Kerwin Go.
it stands for keep grinding.
Keep grinding.
Yes.
Kerwin Go. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's
Keep grinding.
same.
Same. Okay. So aside from now, you've competed. No, you've had a long history of competing in the bodybuilding space or in bodybuilding sport. So, besides doing bodybuilding, I believe you're also coaching, right?
Yes. I do online coaching as of the moment.
So online coaching, how does that work? You coach your clients online in Cebu or all over Philippines mostly? Or it depends?
Some of my clients right now are abroad.
Oh, abroad. Okay.
Yeah. The advantage of doing online coaching is, you have freedom of your time, and also when you're doing personal training, you basically have to be there during the 1 hour of session, or however long it is. But talking about online coaching, you just have to create the workout programs, the customized diet plans, and
Tracking.
yes, tracking, assessing, readjusting the macros.
But usually for your clients, are they full-on beginners or medyo, or they're a bit more experienced?
For online coaching, I would recommend that the client is a little bit intermediate already.
Yeah.
But I've also seen some good progress with beginners, as long as they are just committed to
Because one thing I
program.
noticed, like I've also done online coaching for some of my clients, especially during COVID. So the one thing that I just do not like about online coaching, because what we do is we go on the webcam and then I tell them, okay, do this. And sometimes the hard thing about doing online coaching is it's hard to monitor their form or their technique, which is one thing that I had a hard time adjusting to. So of course I do advocate for online coaching, but for me personally, I'd prefer personal.
Yes.
When you're there live, just to really see the small, minute details.
Yes.
Don't do it like this way. Just even just a sudden movement of whatever. Say you're doing a bent over row, right?
Yes.
If you have just bend a bit more lower, so the really smaller details and good. But so now you're doing online coaching, and then you're also doing personal coaching. So prior to all of this coaching, your competition, your bodybuilding, what was it like for you as a beginner? How did you start off in your bodybuilding journey?
Okay. So I've always been active. I did varsity basketball when I was in college sa Dumaguete. And then I've always had a lean physique. You know, like you can see your abs.
Yeah.
But I was skinny when I started, and when I stopped my varsity career in basketball, I asked myself, what can I do so that I don't get fat? Because I'm very conscious about my body, and I search online how you could build a better physique, and that's how I got into bodybuilding.
How old were you around like this
18
time?
years old.
18 years old, so
Yeah.
college.
Mm.
And then when you started, what was your experience like? For at the first, did you go to like what gym? Like Bakal, usually for me when I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
started, Bakal gym or
Mm.
just the regular gym. So actually first time I tried bodybuilding was really in Yokoks.
Okay.
I tried it.
Or London.
Yeah, there in near San Carlos. First time, medyo na-intimidate ko. Everyone's like super big and all that, and it's just basically testosterone in the room. So everyone's very intimidating at
Yes.
first, and then I was at college. So what was the experience like for you? How did you teach yourself? What was the program like for you at first? Did you learn from someone? Did you search online, or did you just go in like, okay, let's go, and then let's just learn along the way?
I would say it's pretty much the same thing for everyone. Well, except for those who get personal trainers.
Personal trainer.
But yeah, as confident as I am right now, I was also intimidated before. And when you enter the gym and then you look around and you don't really have any idea of what the machines are, how to use them. And especially when you see the bigger guys and they look at you like they're judging you.
Yeah.
It was a bad experience at first. And then all I really wanted when I first started was to get big arms. So, going to the gym, biceps on Monday, triceps on Tuesday, and then do that again and again. About knowledge, I went online and,
Like what year was this? Mga
2011, 2012.
So there were already a bit of, unlike now where search TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, everything is almost provided. So around that time, was it quite limited?
Around that time, I just signed up for Instagram.
Instagram.
It wasn't really a thing back then.
Yeah.
I know that most young people right now, they enter the fitness lifestyle because it's popular in Instagram. It makes you look attractive to the opposite sex, I guess. But at that time, it was a very close niche.
Yeah.
Like when you go to the gym, it was not a lot of people.
Yeah.
And usually those are the weird people who go to the gym.
Freaks ba?
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, what was your question again?
What was your, where did you gain the knowledge? You learned online.
Oh, yeah.
Or the programs and all that.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I started, I didn't have any knowledge. So I'm like, okay, where do I base off my workouts, my programs? Of course, I ask the people around the gym or I search online. So that's where I gained my knowledge into doing the workouts. For you, how did you learn?
Yeah, it was the same thing. I was just browsing through Google, and then the website that I was really hooked on was simplyshredded.com.
Simply Shredded.
I'm not sure I think it's not updated anymore.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was very rich in programs, nutrition, like supplementation advice, also bodybuilding.com. But I really like the simplyshredded.com.
Yeah.
I spent hours,
I remember bodybuilding.com. Famous with,
Yeah.
and then especially on YouTube. So let's say, yes, we all learn from the internet, but do you think now with all the knowledge you have in bodybuilding, in your own body, in diet, do you think that sometimes these websites or whatever, these creators, sometimes they can give a false sense of hope or not, I guess in a way, sometimes false marketing into their programs? Do you believe that sometimes they do that?
Yes, I can understand why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's for marketing, and because the problem, which is a sad reality for most people, is that everybody wants to get instant results. They
That's
want
true.
overnight results. They don't.
They don't want
It
to
was the
put
same
work.
for me. I didn't want to think that it's gonna take 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
Especially when you're young. So yeah, I understand why they're doing that. They say there was this guy on Facebook. He was advertising that you see in just 1 week we already made progress.
V-shred? Dili.
I'm not sure, but you know,
So yeah, sometimes because I noticed that, like especially when these Hollywood actors or, like for example me around my age, this was the Twilight era. So
Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner, freaking nice body, nice physique. So of course me also inspired. Like oh shit, I have to attain that physique. So then I searched online. Taylor Lautner
I think
workout.
it was the same for me. I think
Same,
that's
same.
how because prior to that, people didn't really talk about the body. They just talk about the height, how tall you are.
Yeah.
I was also researching how to get taller. But when during the Twilight Saga, and then they were like, "Oh, Taylor Lautner is so
Yeah.
hot." Oh shit! I want to get that same attention
Yeah.
from girls.
That is true. But as I've learned along the way also, especially I've had experience of that na, like everyone is different. Everyone has their own physique. Sometimes you can't match this certain person. So really, it's just you have to build your own. It's more of your own thing, dude. You
Yes.
can't really rely or you can't really just use other athletes as a basis for your
It's an inspiration, yeah,
or
yeah.
motivation. But don't try and copy their physique, because in all honesty, I think that's not really
There's no two similar physiques in the world.
Yeah.
Like even twins, they have differences.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you've started training at the gym, you were still competing basketball at the time.
Oh, when what?
When you're already working out at the gym
Yeah, I tried to balance it
with basket.
when I initially started.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So I kind of scheduled out when I was lifting and when I was playing
Yeah.
basketball. It didn't really work out because I would be sore when I was playing basketball, and then
not good.
if I don't work hard enough, then I'm not building any muscle. So
Yeah. Now that you've gotten a bit more of experience, now that when you're doing basketball, you're doing bodybuilding. So when did you start to transition? Okay, I think I'm gonna have to stop doing basketball. I'm gonna start focusing on just bodybuilding in general.
yeah, when I stopped playing basketball, and I really wanted to
Continue.
to focus on the building the physique because I was infatuated with it.
But when you were doing the bodybuilding, were you thinking like, okay, I'm gonna compete, or you were just really doing it for the sake of, for your own self lang?
I've always wanted to compete because when you go to the bodybuilding websites, most of the people there compete, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, stuff like that. And I wanted to compete, but I didn't really have any knowledge. Where were the shows? Where were the organizations? And then there's this one time when my neighbor and my friend, he competed out of nowhere. I knew he was getting in shape, but I didn't have any idea that he was competing. And I was like, oh, so he's competing now. I think I want to prep for a show. So, that's how it started.
But how many years were you already in the training?
So if I started in 11, probably
Backtrack ta gamay.
6 years.
6 years already.
Yeah, I already
Had experience already.
trained for 6 years. Yeah, before I did my first show.
But from around those 6 years, you were already a bit muscular.
I wouldn't say so because to the average person, yes,
yeah.
but
for
I wasn't that impressive because sad reality at that time I didn't really have money. So this sport actually requires you to invest in food, a lot of food. And then protein is, as we know, is the most expensive macronutrient. Chicken breast is expensive, and we have to eat a lot of it. So at that time, I didn't really have the funds to supplement my nutrition. So it's mostly just training at that time. Yeah.
So would you say you weren't as confident pa if you were to join these competitions?
No, I wasn't.
Not yet.
Yeah, when I joined my first show, I looked around and I was like, shit, these people are massive.
So doing your first competition, what was that like? What was your, how did it feel to finally like, okay, this is my first competition? You say you look around, everyone is really big, and so what was your thought process and what was your experience?
Um,
How many months did you train prior to the competition?
so I've been training since, I started
Ah,
going to the
yeah,
gym, but I started like cutting
yeah.
for like 2 months. I didn't really have any
Mm,
good idea back then. Um, Looking at myself, that was the best I've ever looked.
mm,
Um, and I was proud of myself. But when I arrived at the venue, I look at the other athletes. I was like, I still have a lot of
yeah,
work to do, and a lot of learning to
a
do.
lot of learning to do. So, but you know, when a lot of people think when of a bodybuilding competition or when they see the poses, right? Some people think they're just posing. There's nothing really to it, diba? There's nothing really to it when you do the poses. But when I look at these bodybuilders when they're posing, I really admire it because it really takes a lot to stand out from the rest,
Yes, yes, yes.
especially during those poses. Because right when you're doing the poses, these are the basis for the judges,
Judging,
right?
yeah.
So in terms of posing, what was it like for your first time also?
It was all right. I didn't look my best,
Mm.
but at that time I was already like trying to mimic the people I saw on YouTube, on on the websites. So it was all right. Yeah, it was all right.
Mm-mm.
Not as good as now though.
Of
Yeah.
course, champion now. But when you were starting, who were some of the inspirations or these bodybuilders that you looked up to? Of course, we have Arnold, Ronnie Coleman. Who are some of these guys that you looked up to?
At that time, yeah, for sure, Arnold. But there was this guy. I'm pretty sure you know him, Ulysses Jr.
Yeah,
The
the one with the long,
Yeah, with the mane,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
black dude.
yeah. He won Olympia, right?
No, he's with a different organization,
Different
and I think he
organization.
already stopped competing.
Yeah.
He owns his own gym. I think that's
Uh-uh.
where he gets his money from.
Mm-mm.
And the Gymshark crew back then, Jeff
Gymshark.
Side, Matt August,
Yeah.
those guys. Yeah, those Steve Cook,
All those
the
guys.
OGs.
Yeah, just because usually when we start, I notice you always look for someone to motivate us or
Yeah.
give us inspiration. So those were your guys. And right now, do you think like there's a major difference now with social media and everything in terms of like you have so many options now to look for inspiration, ba?
Oh, yes, yes.
So especially with social media, Instagram, TikTok, so many bodybuilders out there sharing their knowledge. So I'm very happy that the bodybuilding scene is getting a lot more information. Yes, you've done your first competition in terms of posing. So how did you develop your systems in terms of bodybuilding? For me, example, I've started doing calisthenics. I've learned certain things about my body which react to different types of programs. So now, as an experienced fitness practitioner, I've learned already what types of workouts that I can do most of the time. So for you, how did you start doing? I'm sure because you have to do cutting, diba? There's bulking up, all those phases. So how did you start to learn or understand, what exercises or what programs can I do?
Um, Normally, when it comes to training, I usually go by feel.
Go by feel.
So when I'm feeling particularly strong that week, I would go for lower reps and heavy weights. Usually, I'm just sticking around the 8 to 10 rep
8 to 10
range.
rep range.
Yes, and then when I'm feeling that my joints are kind of achy, then I go for
Lesser,
lighter and
lighter.
more on pumps and volume. Like 12 to 15 reps.
Now, let's say we have a competition coming in 6 months. How would you prepare yourself, prior to the competition? How is the bulking phase? How is the cutting phase? What are you eating? Or how is it just in general? How do you manage everything for competition? Let's say 6 months from now.
Okay, so prior to this prep, I've been coaching myself So for this prep, I have a new coach, Coach Vince Hippie. I think he's the
Hippie,
most.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen him.
I think he's the most popular coach in the country right now. So usually, right now he's the one in charge for my macros and the diet
And the diet
side of
okay.
things. For the training, it's mostly myself. So say I'll be prepping 6 months from now. I would start to clean up, my habits, especially with the diet, which I'm not really good at. But anyways, usually I would start building first. So it's like a lean bulk phase. So when you say bulking, it's really just try to get big.
Yeah.
There's what we also call dirty bulking, where you just
Yeah,
eat
eat
whatever you want.
whatever.
It's very old school. But we're currently doing lean bulking, where it's mostly clean food sources, mostly chicken and rice, and then a little cheat here and there, but in a surplus. So you're eating a lot of it. For my training, usually I start with higher reps, 15 reps. Yeah, I stick with 15 reps leading up to a show, and then when it's already closer, I stick to lower rep ranges.
Heavier.
So, yeah, heavier, because I realized that the more you do high volume or 15 reps, you get more muscle soreness.
Yeah.
So I want to reduce the inflammation of my
Early on, you mean? Or
leading up.
Leading up na.
Because contrary to popular belief, they think that when you're cutting, you should do high reps.
Yeah.
But I do the opposite. So when it's already near, I do heavy reps, because the stimulus for muscle growth and muscle to retain muscle is to give it the stimulus that it needs, which is like heavy loads.
Heavy loads.
Yeah.
So
Tension.
now that you do the cutting, yes, or you've explained already your system, how long is that usually? Let's say, so for whole 6 months you're gonna be training, or what's the timeline for you in terms of preparation?
Right now, I just rely on the instructions from my coach, but usually it's 12 to 16 weeks, or 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4
Yes,
months.
right before the show.
Now that we're in the new age of bodybuilding, and there are already a lot of information, there's a lot of systems involved already compared to the old school way of bodybuilding. What do you think are the major differences with the modern age of bodybuilding and then the old school way of bodybuilding?
A lot. Just like what I said about the training aspect.
Yeah.
So if you're bulking, if you're trying to get big, you lift heavy. And then when you're trying to cut, you use lighter weights and then high reps for muscle definition. But we already know that has already been debunked. Right now, it's just whatever you're doing in the off season, try to maintain the intensity as you're cutting, so that you can maintain the muscle size, the muscle fullness. When it comes to dieting, a lot has also changed. Before, everything is bland. You don't use sodium.
No.
But recently, we keep sodium because you need it for muscle contraction, and then when you sweat, you lose a lot of sodium.
In terms of like of course there are new equipments already, right, involved?
Oh yes. Before they really advocate for compound movements like deadlifts and squats, but recently more people lean towards the use of machines for isolation, because it's safer. We all know what happened to which country was it from? There was this influencer who died because of heavy squatting.
Yeah, I think that was in
somewhere Southeast Asia.
I think Indonesia, or somewhere.
Maybe. I think.
Thailand, I think.
So, yeah, like if you can get the same results with using a safer approach, why risk?
Yeah, but why is that though? Like, because before, when people were, for me, when I started, people were telling me like, don't do the machines because it's you don't really get much out of it. That's what they told me before. But now, because I have also a bit of knowledge in the fitness, the industry. Actually, like machines, like they're much more safer.
Yes.
Why is that? Maybe you can explain to the viewers. Like, you can use the machines. Like, doesn't make you less of a pussy, guys. Maybe they think, diba, like it's not. It doesn't really look, But
I think it's more of a. Don't hate me, guys, but I think it's more of an ego thing.
Ego thing, yeah.
For example, I don't hate on powerlifters, but if you're really good at the movement, like you're really good at deadlifting, you're really good at squatting, you're gonna think that those people who don't do heavy deadlifting, they just do, let's say, for example, light back hyperextensions or row machines, cable row machines. It's like they're trying to compare. Oh, I'm better than you. You should do this because you are using more stabilizer muscles. The research has shown that you grow more muscle by doing deadlifts, or you secrete more testosterone by doing this. But like I said, I would prefer to be safe because
injury is the worst. Anyway.
Injury is the worst. Like if you get injured right now, that's like months trying to recover. You're not training, and most guys who go to the gym, most guys who bodybuild, that's like their life. Like imagine, for example, you're a basketball player and then you can't go to the court. Play, right? It's not
hurts,
fun.
It
hurts mentally.
That's why, like, so you think ego lifting is really it's a thing in the gym?
Yeah, I think.
Why?
I think it's normal. Especially for men because we have testosterone. That's like a masculine energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we always strive to better ourselves. I think it's normal.
Yeah. But sometimes, like, in a way, I noticed also, like, ego lifting can really teach you a lesson also.
Yes.
Like, in terms of, let's say, I do this workout or this bench press where I think, I can do this, but I get injured. So I'm like, okay, like, next time I have to tone down.
Yes, I think it really teaches you. Like, I've also experienced that, especially after my last show, the previous year, because after my show, when you win something and then you get overhyped, and you feel like you can conquer the world. And then I was doing really heavy exercises, especially for my shoulders. And then I hurt myself, and then it took me months to like get comfy again with my shoulder. So I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm just gonna do it safer this time.
So in terms of your preparation, of course, you're lifting weights. Are there any other things that you do? Of course, you do cardio, right, to lose the fat.
Yes.
What else? Are you doing any other types of activities besides just lifting?
I never really did cardio before.
Cardio?
It's really kapoy. And then I was like, I've already won other shows before without doing cardio, but my new coach right now, he really pushed me to do cardio. He says, your condition will really be different when you do cardio. And I saw the results. Looking back at the pictures, I was like, damn, I look good.
But what type of cardio? Is this just like jogging, or are you doing HIIT training, or?
So I just do steady state cardio, and it's really low intensity. Like what I do is I just walk on the streets because I find the treadmill boring.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, so I just walk on the streets and then I just time myself. Okay, I'm done for today. Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors because before I think a lot of people tend to they don't really want us to do cardio before. I mean, for the bodybuilders, when I ask them like, do you do cardio? It's like, never. I don't do cardio. So
that's me before.
Fuck cardio. I don't do that shit. So that was before. But now like everyone is also integrating a lot of different systems already. So I'm very happy for that. Now let's discuss, for our viewers, of course, they want to learn from you, those people who are just starting out also as beginners in the bodybuilding or who just want to, get fit, right? So let's discuss to the viewers, how, what advice can you give to the viewers or to the beginners out there who are just starting out in bodybuilding? Maybe you can give us like your top 5 advice or your top 5, how do you say this? Notes for the beginners.
Okay, if you're a beginner and you go to the gym, I know it sounds like I'm selling. It sounds like
buy my program.
But I would highly, highly suggest that you get a personal trainer when you first start. A personal trainer, not an online coach, because you're gonna have to learn how to perform the exercises properly. You don't want to waste your time, your money, your effort at the gym.
And then
I've seen so many people, they go to the gym for already a year and they still look the same. You don't want that.
I don't want that.
So it would be best if you invest some money on a personal trainer early on, so that you get faster results, right?
Yeah.
And
There's proper guidance. No?
yes, there's proper guidance, and also for safety. That's number one.
No injuries, please.
No
right?
injuries. Yes.
So you got your personal trainer, invest in a personal trainer.
Second is try to learn as much as you can. Okay, say you already have a personal trainer. Just because you have a personal trainer doesn't mean you can't do your own self-study.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to nutrition, because it actually irritates me. I know it's, I'm a personal trainer, but when you tell them, okay, let's lower on the carbs, and then they say, is it okay if I eat bread? So it's like basic nutrition. You have to learn basic nutrition. That's what I'm trying to say, is you have to distinguish what is carbs, what's protein, what is fats, and the how many calories each has. I know it's very hassle. It's very like
A lot of math going on.
a lot of math going on. But trust me, if you want to see results, you have to understand basic nutrition.
Yeah.
Because usually they ask, "Hey, coach, what can I do to lose this part? How do I?" They're always looking for the easier answer, which is do this exercise.
Yeah.
Do this exercise. Do 5 minutes, 20 minutes of cardio. But when you tell them, get a food scale, you have to measure. This is the macros that you wanna use, and then it's okay.
Yeah.
Because it takes more effort to actually, do this lifestyle. Track the macros, the calories. But those are the things that matter.
Yeah. But it doesn't necessarily mean, like, let's say there's just like a regular gym goer, but sometimes for them also, like, some people, they don't tend to track everything, every minute detail. For me, example, I eat, of course, but sometimes I'm not too specific on what to eat, like in terms of macros, or I've found already my own way of, I know my body already, so I know what works for me. But of course, for you beginners who are not so familiar yet with how the body works, how nutrition works, so listen to coach. Yes, educate yourself, and then learn about diet, nutrition. Okay, what else besides nutrition, your personal trainer? What else?
This is also for the nutrition side of things. Always focus on protein. I know when people hear this, they would be like, I'm just doing this for lifestyle. I'm not really trying to get bulky, or especially the women. Women are so deficient in protein. Yeah. Like the minimum requirement is like a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Most women, let's say they weigh 100 pounds or 110 pounds, but when you try to track everything they've eaten in a day, they've only eaten like 50 grams or 60 grams total. So you really have to focus on protein, because it's what gives you a good
Recovery.
body composition, and also
recovery.
Also for recovery, it increases your metabolism. So even at rest, you're burning more calories just by sitting. Yeah.
What about rice? Every Filipino's favorite. Because before, I want to lose weight, coach. I don't eat rice. What? I can't. Lami, magkaya ako ng rice.
Yeah.
So, is there they don't want you to eat rice because it's too much carbs and sugar and all that. Do you think that's a misconception?
I wouldn't say it's a misconception. I have mixed thoughts on that, and my opinion has changed over the years, actually, because I came from a ketogenic background.
So no carbs,
yes, no
mostly fat
carbs,
and protein.
no insulin spikes. So here's my advice: if you want to keep the carbs, it's fine. You can eat your rice, but you have to track them.
Yeah, true.
So you have to weigh everything. I know it sounds hassle, but what you cannot measure, you cannot improve.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to track, remove your carbs. you will still find progress.
Yeah.
So I think that's the advantage of the ketogenic community, because they still see progress. It's because they completely remove the carbs, which in general reduces your overall caloric intake
Yeah.
for the day, but also some hormonal manipulation. It's just about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
As long as you can sustain the
Sustain.
diet, then choose that one.
Yeah. So, okay, you have your personal trainer, you have your diet. What else besides what other tips can you give to the beginners out there besides these two?
So I forgot to mention about that, but recovery is actually the most
Most
important thing.
important.
Yes, you could be training really hard. You could be eating right, but sleep is where your body recovers. It's where your body transforms.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, and that's the only time that I'm getting too scientific here, but that's the only
It's
time
way
where
much better.
your brain is actually cleaning itself. Like get enough sleep.
Get enough sleep. Okay, so you got personal trainer, now educate yourself, and recover well.
Yes, recover
So
well. Yes.
those top three. Okay, now let's go into specifics for because not everyone is different, right? Everyone has different approaches. I was a hard gainer when I started, like super lanky, and I noticed. I think I was an
Ectomorph.
But yeah, this question: do you think that there are different body types, right? You have your ectomorph, you have your
Mesomorph.
your
Endomorph.
endomorph. So can you explain maybe what these body types are, and what are the differences between all these three?
You might be asking, why am I eating the same amount of food as he is, but he's not getting fat and I'm fat?
Yeah.
Right? We all know that one person who eats everything
Okay,
inside
doesn't
but has
gain.
abs
Yeah.
is really skinny.
Yeah.
And then there's this person that is conservative with the way he or she eats, and then he or she is overweight.
Yeah.
So there are three different body types. So we should never compare ourselves with other people because we have different body types. The ectomorph or the hard gainer, mesomorph or somewhere in between, and then endomorph or how do you say it?
And more of
Endomorph, like
they're of the bigger
easy gainer or gets fat easily.
Yeah.
From what I've learned, ectomorphs have faster metabolisms, and they are very how do you say this? They process carbs very well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest difference between endomorphs and ectomorphs. The endomorphs, or the relatively heavier brothers and sisters, they can't handle carbs very well. So I would highly suggest that they are more vigilant when it comes to the consumption of carbohydrates, and probably a little higher fat. So it's more of a low carbs, higher fat.
So more of a keto
Yeah,
style.
more of a keto, more of an Atkins diet. For hard gainers, of course, you don't want to lose more weight. You want to
gain
build
weight.
some muscle, right? So you also have to keep track of your calories, because I got this question from my Instagram stories.
Yeah,
The
actually,
questions. What can I do if I'm an ectomorph and I want to gain more muscle? I want to gain weight, right? So it's the same with trying to lose weight. You also have to keep track, because most hard gainers, they would say, I eat so much, I never gain weight. But when you are with them for a whole day and then you see how much they're actually eating, it's less than what they're required to eat.
Yeah.
So you still have to eat at a surplus. You have to eat more than what your body burns so that you gain weight.
And then for the mesomorphs, you guys are freaking lucky. You're in the middle. You gain fat easily, you lose fat easily, right?
Yeah,
You
so
gain muscle fast also.
either way is easy.
So lucky mesomorphs. So maybe for the hard gainers out there, or the ectomorphs out there, like me before, I had a hard time gaining muscle, gaining weight. What advice can you give for them, for the ectomorphs out there who are listening? The ectomorphs. Is there a difference when you train as an ectomorph or as you train as an endomorph, or yeah,
For me, it's the same throughout.
same throughout?
Yes, because the muscles, the body responds the same way. We have the same physiology besides the nutrition side of things. So if you're trying to build or maintain muscle, you just have to challenge it. You have to put mechanical tension or
Mind muscle connection.
yeah, progressive overload.
Oh, yes.
That's what
Progressive overload.
yes. So yeah, that's how the muscle grows. It's through challenge.
Now, in terms of, okay, now that we've identified these three body types, but would you say, like, as a coach, like, because some people, like, what I had with what I was thinking before was like, that I'm an ectomorph, like, I can't really do other stuff. Kay, I'm an ectomorph. I classify myself as this body type, so I try to focus on the things that will benefit me as an ectomorph. Do you think some people are too narrow-minded when it comes to like knowing these body types, or for you it's just just enjoy or do whatever you can just to really improve?
Normally, I would say just enjoy, right? But I think it all depends on your priorities. For example, if I'm an ectomorph and I just want to look good on the beach, then I can do whatever I want. I can play basketball, and also go to the gym, and just normally eat.
Enjoy lang.
Yes. But if your priority is
Competition.
for example, you want to join a competition, then know your priorities.
Yeah.
If you're trying to join this show and it's more important than burning calories through basketball, then I would suggest put the basketball on the sidelines for a bit and then just focus on this. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about your program structure. Now, of course, in bodybuilding or in fitness in general, especially in bodybuilding, there are different systems, right? Of course, you have your, I don't know who made bro split. So, bro split. So you have Monday, chest and triceps, all those types of stuff. How do you program your structure?
Normally, I structure it depending on my how do you call this? So when I get bored on a specific system, then I switch to the other one. Usually, I do bro split or one body part a day. So chest for Monday, Tuesday that's back, shoulders, arms, legs. But recently, I've been doing push-pull legs. It's what's becoming more popular these days. So for the first day, you're doing push muscles or the chest, shoulder, triceps, and then pull on the next day, which is back and biceps, and then legs, and then you repeat that cycle.
How about abs? Or do you focus on abs also? Or you just add it in?
I've never really did abs before, except for this prep, and I think it has significantly improved how I look. Like before, I would say you don't need to train abs because when you diet, you can just see it. But abs, just like any other muscle, also grows through training.
Yeah.
So what I mean to say is, for example, this is your muscle, right? And then there's fat, and then there's skin.
Yeah.
When the fat is removed, voila, you can see the abs, right? You can see the lines.
Yeah.
But
it's not as
when you build it grows like
out
it
of
bumps.
Yeah.
So it actually looks more impressive when you train it. Yeah.
So how did you add abs into your program?
It's very basic.
It's the basic exercise.
I do it every other day. So I would switch between hanging leg raises and crunches. So that's
really
pretty much
basic.
Very, very basic. You don't need to do a whole lot.
Yeah. Now, okay, let's say you have your program structure down. Let's say you're doing the bro split, or maybe you can discuss to other viewers, what are the different types of systems or splits. So you have the bro split, singular muscle per day.
Yes, one body part per day.
What about your recovery phase for the bro split?
Usually when you're doing bro split, the volume per body part per day is really high.
Yeah. So
because you're just focusing on one body part. So you're gonna need to recover for a longer period of time. So basically, I think the right time is typically after you've trained every other muscle type. So if you're doing chest today and then back, shoulder, chest, after 5 days, then you can do chest again. For push-pull legs, so since you're usually doing 2 or 3 body parts per day. So the volume per body part per day is a little lesser.
Yeah.
So after 2 days, you can do the same body parts again.
So those are mainly those two types of systems you're doing.
Yeah, mainly those two.
two.
Yeah.
But of course, there are different, a lot.
Many. Yeah. It actually depends. You can customize, because I think the reason why we have splits is because of recovery.
Yeah.
It's really just all about recovery. Yeah, so
It's just recovery, guys.
it's just recovery, because that's the reason why you don't do chest today and then you do chest again tomorrow. It's because you need recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, usually I notice it really happens for younger people, or, who are just starting out, where they think, okay, I can recover this muscle tomorrow or whatever. But, as you get older, you're gonna feel it like, shit, okay, I have to rest. So again, rest, guys, is very essential for the, building the muscle, right? So, okay, now you have your bro split. Okay, let's say, for example, Monday chest, Tuesday back, shoulders, Wednesday,
Thursday arms.
then Friday.
Like sometimes
Legs.
people don't train legs.
No, yeah, guys, why? Why is that? Why do you think, like, guys, for me, legs is my favorite. So why do you think guys are not, guys, you have to do legs? Why do you think some guys don't want to do legs?
There are a couple of reasons. One is because men train
They want
what
the
you can
visuals.
see,
Yeah.
what you can see, the beach muscles, right? It's what you can, how do you say it? Like, you can always flaunt.
Yeah.
And second, it's because training legs is hard.
Yeah, that's hard.
And most of the time it's just covered by shorts anyway. So that's why most guys don't train legs at all.
Yeah.
But I think you have to train them for balanced physique and
Yeah.
also for function.
What's the term again? You don't want to look like Johnny Bravo or
Johnny Bravo or chicken legs.
chicken legs. I don't get hurt. Chicken legs though.
It's actually the opposite for women. They like training lower body
Legs.
parts. And,
Yeah, of course, because that's where
they don't want to train upper
That's where
because
they
they don't want to
flaunt
get
Yeah.
muscle.
So now that we have the program structure, for the beginners out there, would you recommend the bro split?
I would suggest doing whole body parts first. They say it's conditioning, but
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have really low volume at first. So probably one exercise this is just my style, okay? So it could differ from personal trainer to other trainers. One to two body parts for the session. So for example, one is squats, and then I move on to push-ups, and then I would do lat pull downs, and then lateral raises.
And this is for your program, or
This is just a sample program
okay.
for the first day
For first
of
day.
someone. So just to give them a feel of what it feels like to be training,
Yeah.
but you're not necessarily killing them, right? So probably do that first, and then come back 2 days later, and then do it again, and then once their recovery improves, they don't really feel that sore that much, then you can probably move on to push-pull legs, and then finally bro split.
yeah, because I noticed, like, for me when I started individual, then as I got stronger and stronger, now I even do whole body because I can't really work out like all the time. So when I have just one day in a week, I lift heavy and then I do mostly compound. So yeah, that's for me.
Oh yeah, besides recovery, the reason for training programs or system, as you call it, is because of people's schedule.
Yeah.
So you're trying to fit the workout program to your schedule, not the other way around, right? Because we have life, we have jobs, we have other things to cater to. So you have to program your split according to your life schedule. So that's how you do it.
But as for you students out there, you have so much time where, unlike now where we're working and so lesser time to work out. But for you, if you're young and then you have so much time, you can really put in the work. Do the bro split. That's what coach said. For 5 days, just work out.
It's like a full-time bodybuilder.
Full-time bodybuilder, right? So really make the most out of the time that you have. But now let's say, okay, for the beginners out there, now you have your bro split. Let's say Monday chest. How many exercises are we looking at, and how many rep ranges are we looking at for the beginners?
Oh, beginners.
Yeah.
For me right now, it's usually 4 to 6 exercises for me. So
For one muscle.
yeah, for one muscle. For beginners, I would suggest 3 to 4,
Yes.
and then
Rep ranges.
probably our rep ranges 10 is like really basic.
Basic.
Um, if you want to really practice on the form, I would suggest higher rep ranges like 15 reps.
Yeah.
Because repetition is the mother of skill.
Yeah.
So you want to
Let your body
do
get
it
used
over and over until you get the feel. And yeah, maybe one to two warm up sets, and then 2 to 3 working sets. Yeah.
So now that you have the program, so what about for those intermediate people who are doing bodybuilding, or who are starting to see a bit of improvement, and then they want to challenge themselves because of course they can't stick to the previous regimen. So now that they want to improve and they want to start adding a bit more of the fancy stuff or whatever. So how does that work?
The body reacts the same way, whether you're a beginner or intermediate or advanced. Now, the difference is in recovery and in strength. So when you're an intermediate, you're basically doing the same things that made your body grow when you were a beginner, but you have to continuously challenge the body. So it's always the concept of progressive overload. As long as you challenge the muscle, it's going to grow. But it would be a little slower, a lot less slower than when you were a beginner. But yeah, pretty much the same thing, but with better form, better control, and yeah, still challenging yourself.
What about those, like, because when we start, like, I always see people doing supersets, or, these types of supersets, or different ways of doing the program. So maybe you can explain what is a superset, or, is there what do you call the one where they do 3 exercises? Or
Yeah, so there are a lot of terminology when it comes to these types of, I would say, forced sets or pushing beyond failure.
Yeah.
So there's what we call supersets, or when you're trying to do one exercise and then you immediately do another exercise without rest in between the 2 exercises. For example, I would probably triceps press down for my triceps, and then once I'm done with the 10 reps without rest, I move on to the barbell curls for my biceps. So that's a superset. Now, I enjoy supersets, especially for arms, because it gives you more pump, more blood flow in
And it's
in
faster
a
also.
small amount of time, and it's very time
I feel like, yeah,
time
you save
efficient.
it, yeah.
You're saving time, especially when you have less time to work out. I think that's the best reason why I would use supersets. My opinion really differs from other people because they really prefer doing drop sets, or like you're doing a heavy set of, for example, squats, and then once you can't do it anymore, you drop the weight to a lower weight, and then you do more reps, and then drop again. Yeah, sometimes I do that for fun or when I'm training with my other friends, but I usually stick with straight sets or regular sets because I could focus all my energy and my focus into one set instead of, oh fuck, I can't do other reps anymore because I'm gassing out. I can't breathe because it's too intense for me. So I would rather just focus on one set and then just move on to the next.
Move on to the next one. Okay. But yeah, everyone differs. Coaches have different experiences. What works for them may not work for the other person. So as what coach said, yeah, everyone has their own systems. So just really know your body, and then after that, maybe can find a certain programs that can really benefit for you. So okay, now let's say for let's maybe you can give an advice for those people who are experiencing plateau in their bodybuilding journey or in their fitness journey in general. Sometimes for me, as what you've said a while ago, as beginners, they tend to improve a lot faster. You see the results more faster. Now, when you reach a certain plateau in your muscle growth, what are some of the ways that they can, combat that or, exceed over the plateau?
To be honest, there are a lot of factors that could be the reason for the plateau.
Yeah.
So one is you got used to the training program, but what most people don't, what most people fail to acknowledge is how's your sleep, how's your nutrition, right? Because it could be that your body already adapted to the amount of calories, amount of protein that you're eating, and you're thinking, should I change my training program? When in fact, all you have to do was just increase your carbohydrates so that you could lift heavier, and then your progress, continues.
Continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed it really sucks, especially mentally when you're in a plateau, because you're kind of questioning like, did I do something wrong, or how do I get over this plateau? Or sometimes really it's just out of boredom. I notice for me personally, I'm like, I find this program boring. I don't see results anymore. So that's when I started to really learn and educate on the different programs.
You also have to consider the training age,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So if you've been training for like 5 years, 10 years, you wouldn't expect to really progress every week, every 2 weeks. So all you have to do is just be patient and recognize that this is a lifestyle. You don't have to take it that seriously daily. You just take it day by day,
Yeah.
and then the results just come. It's all about time.
It's all about time, guys. So consistency over intensity. That's what I always say. You have to be consistent with your training and not just focus solely on the intensity. Because if you focus on consistency, you get to train over a longer period of time, right?
Yeah. So one thing that you might call this an advice, but always ask yourself, how would you look like 5 years from now if you started now?
Yeah,
Right?
that's true. So, and some people, like when I tell them, just start.
Yeah,
like,
just start.
that's the number one thing. Start.
Don't wait for everything to be perfect.
Because a lot of people will say, I'm gonna start when I feel stronger. You get stronger in the gym. That's what you do. That's the purpose of going to the gym, right? So whatever reasons your mind is making up, you have to just go to the gym and what coach said, get a trainer, learn, and then educate yourself. So that's the way to go when you want to improve. So before we end the podcast, maybe you can tell the viewers, your social, Instagram, if you have TikTok, your Facebook, they can follow you, and maybe they can inquire for your programs also.
Yes. You can email me at nicoabines@gmail.com. That's nicoabines@gmail.com for personal training inquiries. You can follow me on Instagram at nico.abines, nico.abines. Same tag for the TikTok. And then for YouTube, just Nico Abines.
So guys, you have all of his
Give me a
socials.
follow and subscribe.
Give him a follow, subscribe to his channel. If you ever want personal training from Coach Nico, he's available. So, Coach, thank you again.
Oh
so
yeah,
much.
one more.
One more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please buy my merch.
Oh, merch, guys. This guy has merch.
Yeah. The handle for the Instagram is dark_horse.ph. So yeah, I'll be having a new drop soon. So please support me because that's how I earn my living.
Guys, so yeah, support his merch.
Shameless plug.
Yes, dark_horse. So
.ph. Yes.
.ph. So it can also help Coach Nico with his upcoming competitions in the future. So again, thank you so much, bro, for coming.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Guys, hope you can learn from Coach Nico. Thank you.